All right, we are being joined now by South Dakota State men's head basketball coach Eric Henderson and student athletes Doug Wilson and Baylor Scheierman. Again, just a reminder for format, we will have some folks potentially on Zoom. You'll have Zoom questions and then also from the media. Media, again, please, before you ask your question, name and affiliation. We'll go ahead with an opening statement from Coach, then we'll turn it over to the student athletes. Go ahead, Coach.
First off, what an exciting time of the year. I'll tell you what, to be back in the Denny with all these fans, it sure feels good. I'll tell you that much. And really proud of my guys, our guys. I thought in the first half, I didn't think we were real sharp defensively. We certainly talked about some things in the locker room and that start of the second half. I thought our guys were really engaged and connected on the defensive end. And when we do that, we can be pretty special. So I'm just proud of our guys. Excited. Doesn't matter always how it looks like. This time of the year, it's survive and advance. So we're excited to play on Monday.
Questions for the student athletes?
Matt Zimmer, Argus leader. Doug, Baylor hits a big three right before the buzzer at halftime when you guys had kind of been struggling a little bit. Looked like it gave you some momentum going into halftime. What was sort of just the mindset or the feeling with the team going into half on that shot and then coming out in the second half?
We knew we made we didn't play our best the first half, and going into that second half, we was in the locker room just talking to each other, just, trying to get back to how things are, and really just words of encouragement and just saying things that we know we had to get better at.
Baylor in the first half, when you guys were struggling a little bit, I think they went up by 6 or 7 at one point. It looked like there were a couple times where maybe you were talking to your teammates about kind of trying to stay in it, stay up. Was there ever a point when, I don't want to say panic set in, but that you kind of started feeling a little like, geez, this is happening again? Or how did you sort of stay positive and work through that stretch?
No, there was no panic. It's a long game, 40-minute game. And, it was the first half. And like Doug said, we didn't think we were playing our best. And so in those times, everybody knows like what's right and what's wrong. And so if someone does something wrong, getting on them, sure, but they already know what they did wrong. So I'm just trying to, motivate them to, kind of just do better next time and just kind of turn things around that way.
Zach Borg, Dakota News Now. Doug, you're one of the guys who had never played in this atmosphere before, and there were several guys on your team. Did it just maybe take a little while for you guys to kind of get comfortable, and then after you did, you kind of saw it on the floor?
I guess you could say that in a way. We knew that we was going to get a good crowd. I think we was just probably a little nervous if we was going to play good or not in front of them. But for the most part, we're a pretty good team when it comes to those crowds. We played against some big crowds in our non-conference schedule. So, really it was just more so just following the game plan coming into this game.
Doug, Mark Ovenden from Dakota News Now. I'm Zach's boss, and he stole my question. So I'm going to ask on the fly, how sharp the coaching staff looked in their outfits tonight. Did that make you guys play better?
I guess you could say that. Me and my teammates talk a lot how they look more sharp than us than we did this whole entire year.
Yeah,
so
we ain't getting no gear.
Yeah.
How cool is this for you? Seriously, to play in front of this crowd, because you missed it the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, it feels really cool. I haven't played in a crowd like this, I don't think, since my sophomore year of high school. So to get the chance to play in front of this crowd was a blessing, and I look forward to it the next Monday and Tuesday, hopefully.
This question comes from John Teetle from Hoops HD via Zoom chat. This is for Baylor. You and Frankie Fiddler both come from Nebraska. He wants to know whether you two ever played with or against him in high school or knew about his play and talk about his matchup.
Yeah, I never played against him in high school. He was a few, grades below me, and his high school was a classification above me as well. So I never played him. Kind of just following Nebraska hoops, I kind of knew a little bit about him, playing with Bellevue West and playing with, Chucky Hepburn and whatnot. And, he's a phenomenal player, and he's only getting better. Obviously he's just a freshman, and, he's got a lot of skill.
Any other questions for the student athletes? This will be the last one.
For either one of you, any part of you maybe kind of hoping for USD on Monday night just to see what that atmosphere might be like?
It's just another game, man. Second step in 3-step process. Whoever we play, we're going to be ready to play and ready to go. And looking forward to Monday.
Thanks, Phyllis. You can head back to the locker room.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead with questions for Coach.
Hendo, I'm sure it was too early in the first half when Omaha had their lead for you to actually be worried or anything like that. But was there a little bit of a sense of, geez, we didn't start great again?
I mean, not really, to be honest with you. I mean, this time of year is special. And at the end of the day, when we're in the league that we're in, we're all playing possibly our last game. And so the effort that you're going to get from the other opponent, I mean, there's nothing to lose. I mean, it's either win or go home. So the effort, the other team wants to win too. And so it really didn't surprise me. Darren does a heck of a job over there, and they got good players. And so I am proud of our guys, though, for not really panicking. I didn't think we played very good defensively, but I never saw any panic.
Do you think it's good for your team to have gone through that better than, say, if it had been 40-10, 10 minutes into the game?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I know the last week of the regular season when we were at Oral Roberts in Kansas City, I mean, we were battled to the max, and obviously again tonight. So our guys, they're fun games to play in. It's fun to play in front of these crowds. It's fun to play with the energy that's in a gym like this. So yeah, hopefully we can, learn some things from tonight, and it can help us on Monday night.
Coach, what about your team allows it to kind of lock in a little more defensively in the second half? Because you've had a couple of games this year where we've seen teams maybe have a big first half, and then it seems like your guys really clamp down in the second.
And it's been vice versa before too, Zach, to be honest with you. When we played Omaha at our place, 3 weeks ago in the first half, our defense was probably as good as we played all year. But we need to make those stretches longer, that's for sure. And we need to make sure we're engaged and connected for 40 minutes. We understand that's what it's going to take for us to reach our goals.
This question comes from John Tito, Hoops HD via Zoom. Baylor had 20 points, 5 assists, no turnovers. So do you think this game was a perfect example of why he was named the Summer League Player of the Year on Thursday?
Well, I mean, we all know that he can impact the game in a lot of ways. He plays a lot of different positions for us. He brings the ball up, we'll post him up. He can, come off ball screens. He can set ball screens. So he's very, very versatile. And that's the thing I think, people have appreciated about him. But I say all that too, like Baylor will be the first one to tell you that those awards, obviously he had to do some special things, but he has to have some pretty special teammates for those things to happen too. And Baylor will be the first one to tell you that.
Jack McGonigal, Mav Radio. What was the message in the locker room? Frankie Fiddler, 22 first half points. What did you see from him that was so impressive? And what did you guys do to limit his possessions in the second half?
Well, first of all, his confidence is terrific for a young kid. He plays with great swagger. He plays with great confidence. He can score it in a lot of different ways, and they do a good job of spacing the floor and letting him play a little bit of one-on-one when he has mismatches. So we talked about shrinking the floor a little bit, trying to make him pass, squeeze that space up a little bit, and making him catch it a little bit farther out on the perimeter too. But he's a good player. I mean, I'm very, very impressed with that young man.
Grant Sweeter, Kello Sports. You got 25 points from your bench tonight. How big was that to get that kind of spark off the bench?
Well, Sweeter, I think that's been one thing all year that's been one of our team's strengths. We have great depth. We have we believe in all those guys, that they can come in and make a great impact. Sometimes it's scoring, sometimes it's in other ways, but more times than not, we feel just as comfortable when we go to the bench than when whoever's in the game.
We'll take our final question from Zoom.
No, that was going to be my question. Yes. Zoom. Sim. No, Sim.
Sorry.
Yeah, this
Jeez,
question,
I'm easy.
No.
I'm not asking any questions.
this question comes from Tim Hill of the Reaching the Summit podcast. Alex and Den combined for 12 points, 12 rebounds in the first half when Doug and Luke were on the bench in foul trouble. How special is it to have guys like them to have had smaller roles but still step up when called upon?
Well, I mean, you look at those two guys. They've been in our program for 5 years, and so the experience that they have, and you look at different how the season goes. It's so long. Matt Dentlinger started probably the first 12, 13 games for us. Ends up coming off the bench. He didn't hang his head. He didn't pout. He didn't whine. He understood and accepted his role. And you're going to need all those guys. And so it's really nice to see that. And he really, really was a big part in helping us get this victory.